welcome you to Atlanta, Georgia for tonight's presentation of the WNBA on the CBS Sports Network. We are 10 miles south of downtown at the new home of the Atlanta Dream, the Gateway Center Arena in College Park. Tonight, it's the reigning WNBA champion Seattle Storm visiting the Atlanta Dream. With almost one-third of the season completed, let's take a look at the current WNBA standings. And if you see, it's very congested in the middle of the pack. The difference between moving between 4 and 10 is just a game and a half. Everyone wants to stay above that 8 spot for playoff qualifications. Well, the Dream's still in the race at 7. Storm sit atop the pack with an 8-2 record. Hello, everyone. She's LaChina Robinson. I'm Angel Gray, and we have Dream Storm on the docket for you. And less than 48 hours ago, the Storm handed the Atlanta Dream their 3rd consecutive loss. And honestly, it was behind a very impressive scoring effort. They shot over 50% from both the field as well as beyond the arc. But let's be honest, adjustments will be coming from Atlanta, and they have 2 of the most impressive guard play. We'll see a lot of that from Tiffany Hayes as well as Jewell Loyd tonight.
Yeah, Jewell Loyd was fantastic on Wednesday. I thought she really set the tone for Seattle's offense. She was in attack mode. Her athleticism matches up well against Atlanta, but she's a reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, and she's really having arguably the best season of her career. This year, she has been asked to guard the other team's best perimeter player. She is setting the tone on the offensive end. Really love the confidence that Jewell Loyd is playing with right now. And on the other end for Atlanta, Tiffany Hayes was in her bag on Wednesday night, scoring her 5th 20-point performance of this season. When she is getting to the rim, which she does very well with that left hand, and also extending her game from the three-point line, she is so dangerous. Seattle had to make adjustments to their defense just for Tiffany Hayes.
Well, let's look at the starting lineups. It hasn't changed much from Wednesday's game. Sue Bird, Jewell Loyd, Katie Lou Samuelson, Breanna Stewart, Mercedes Russell. That's the same on Seattle side. Odyssey Sims, Courtney Williams, Tiffany Hayes. Cheyenne Parker gets her 2nd start. And Elizabeth Williams in the starting lineup for the Atlanta Dream. And leading the pack for Seattle, Noelle Quinn, 3-1 as a head coach right now. Made her head coaching debut on June 1st. Won her first game against Indiana. And she actually is the only person to win the WNBA championship as both a player and a coach. So very impressive. And on the other side, interim head coach Mike Peterson. Talked to him this morning. He said, I just want to make sure my team understands poise, discipline, and don't panic. We have to make sure that we're staying on the same page with one another, being led by some of the most prolific guards in Tiffany Hayes, as well as Courtney Williams. They're on the floor now, and Breanna Stewart looks happy as she's stepping into the circle against Elizabeth Williams. And the game's underway, and a lot like on Wednesday's game, the Atlanta Dream start off with the ball. Right away, Courtney Williams with the mid-range. That's tipped around quite a bit, but Breanna comes down with the rebound. Samuelson going against Courtney Williams, and one of the key points coming into this game was the mismatch on the inside and how Seattle was going to use their length. We saw that right out of the gate.
Yeah, I mean, this is a matchup between Courtney Williams and Katie Lou Samuelson that both coaches like, right? We saw Courtney Williams going at Katie Lou using her speed, but Lou's got the size advantage on the other end.
Courtney Williams from the top of the key lets it fly, and you like to see that if you're Coach Peterson, falling early for Courtney.
An important shot for Courtney because Tiffany Hayes was the only player for the Dream in double figures on Wednesday. That will need to change tonight. They will need to have more balance. Sue Bird getting the Storm going from three-point land where they were fantastic, 12 of 22, 55% from long range.
Nice touch pass on the inside from Hayes. Odyssey Sims lets it go from outside, and she can't get it to fall, but Cheyenne Parker cleans up and can't convert. Sue Bird pushing in transition. All the way to the bucket. Another thing Coach Peterson mentioned, the adjustments. Transition defense has to be there.
Yeah, Seattle has been #1 in fast break points this year in the WNBA. Their transition, the way they can spread the floor, but also just how quickly they can get to the cup. Atlanta's got to communicate.
Communication is key. That's something he's challenging all of his leaders on this team to do. See a lot of the action going on the inside early for Seattle. And Elizabeth Williams will pick up her first personal foul. But as you alluded to earlier, I mean, for Seattle, they had 6 players finish in double figures. All of their starters were in double figures. We saw Stephanie Talbot, who erupted in the second half, and only one player, Tiffany Hayes, was in double figures, so see how they can change that. Right away, Courtney Williams adjusting a bit, fronting Katie Lou Samuelson. And once again, she said, I just got to get to my money spots. Mid-range, I would say, is that.
Yeah, if you let her dribble right into that mid-range, it's going to be a long night, as the elevation on that shot makes it tough to contest.
Courtney Williams finished with 8 points, 6 assists last game. Seeing if she can get going offensively. Jewel Lloyd can't connect. Nice pass underneath to Williams, who finishes over Russell.
And right away, you see Seattle is intentional about getting the ball out of the hands of Tiffany Hayes. 2 defenders there, but good job on the finish there by Elizabeth.
And it's about the Dream executing as well. He said, we're in our half court. Want to make sure Courtney Williams and Tiffany Hayes get a touch. Magic happens when it does. A lot like that. So Courtney Williams off to a hot start. She has 7 points already. Samuelson can't connect from outside, and for Atlanta to have the 3rd highest pace in the league, you see how they're being able to set up things. Nice look from the outside, and that's going to be a foul on the floor. Let's talk about the offense so far for Atlanta.
Yeah, Tiffany Hayes with a great read here. Is patient and poised against 2 defenders and a long Brianna Stewart. And then here, Courtney Williams can stop on a dime and elevate for that jump shot. The quick release is what makes it work.
That last foul went against Mercedes Russell. 8 on the shot clock. Odyssey looking for Williams on the roll. 3, Courtney Williams from the wing. And that one doesn't fall.
I like Atlanta's offense so far. They've been able to get a piece of the paint, get the ball worked inside out, and they've taken pretty good shots so far.
Great defense by Elizabeth Williams, just a better shot by Brianna Stewart.
Yeah, she likes to get into the post and mix it up with E. Williams. Saw a little bit of that on Wednesday.
Odyssey with the cut to the middle. Back iron. Sue right away to Jewel Lloyd for the 2-man game, and that's just beautiful basketball.
It's the slip. That's something that Mike Peterson mentioned when he talked about Seattle's offense, is that they will slip in those situations right to the bucket. You have got to be aware and stay glued.
Odyssey Sims with a beautiful move to the bucket by her own. Great find underneath by Hayes as well.
And that's the direction she wants to go in, using that left hand on the finish, on a semi-reverse, I guess you could call it.
We'll go back to the tape. We'll see if we can break it down for you. Again, Stewart over the right shoulder, and she can just give it to you in so many different ways.
Yeah, and you'll have to make a decision at some point, because turnover here by Cheyenne Parker just comes inside the out-of-bounds line.
Right here, the dish off by Tiffany Hayes.
Yeah, a nice touch pass and the quickness of Sims on that baseline.
Stewie, mid-range. Courtney Williams, we know that she's been known to go up against taller defenders, and that's one reason why Fearless is her name. She has 9 of the Dream's 13 points, and we said we wanted to see more offense from different players than Tiffany Hayes. Well, Courtney Williams is on the board early for Atlanta. Joe Lloyd, baseline jumper, no good, missed everything.
Good contest by Tiffany Hayes. That is a fun matchup to watch with Hayes guarding Lloyd.
Sue Bird just read that the entire way and gets it to Brianna Stewart.
And I believe that's 2 fouls on Elizabeth Williams.
Well, they break, so we'll break. We'll be back for free throws from Brianna. We're locked at 13 all, and Breanna Stewart picking up where she left off, getting it done on the offensive end.
Yeah, I mean, she has the ability to slide into the post at 6'4". I mean, that's what makes Breanna Stewart such a special player, is you can put her in the post, in the mid-range, in transition, at the three-point line, and she can be effective from all those places. And I like the game plan by Seattle to try to go at Elizabeth Williams. She was their best rebounder the other night, very active. She's their leader, and so now she's going to have to sit with those 2 fouls, and Atlanta's already having to go into their bench.
And to your point, she had 12 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds, 2 points away from that double-double. But she will be on the bench with 2 fouls. Seeing different looks on the defensive end for Seattle as Tiffany Hayes very close to getting it down, but Monique Billings said, I want to clean up more tonight.
One thing that Seattle did the other night is went to zone. So when they go to that zone, they are vulnerable on the offensive glass, but they will mix it up in what they're doing defensively to try to keep Atlanta off balance, but also to try to keep Atlanta from attacking the driving lanes.
So that foul is going to go against Tiana Hawkins, who just checked in for Atlanta during the break, as well as on the other side, Candace Dupree in the game for Seattle as Jewel Lloyd knocks down 2.
If you are even a little late on the screening action, as Tiffany Hayes was there against Jewel Lloyd, you're in trouble. And you see Lloyd guarding Tiffany Hayes, denying her on that end of the floor.
Monique Billings with the face-up gets the block call against Samuelson. And that's just going to be her first foul. But I like the aggression from Monique Billings out of the gate. It's something that she talked to us about before the game as well, just understanding how she can get to the free throw line, being more aggressive throughout the game.
It's what she's known for. I mean, you don't watch Monique Billings play without thinking about the word aggressive and the way she attacks the glass. And that's something that concerned Noelle Quinn in her presser post game, was Elizabeth Williams and also Monique Billings attacking on the offensive glass and getting second chance points.
Last second heave by Courtney Williams doesn't fall, but once again, Atlanta doing their work on the offensive boards. That one doesn't fall. Billings gets a hand on it, but Samuelson, the last one to tip it out, so it will stay with the Atlanta Dream. Ari McDonald checks in for Odyssey Sims.
And Cheyenne Parker adds to that list of aggressive offensive rebounders as well. She was one of the best in the league last year, offensive rebound percentage-wise.
Some of her best output with Chicago. Atlanta got her through free agency, the first trade for free agency. They went after her hard, understanding what she could bring to the team in that transaction. Jordan Canada can't find anything on the baseline. Got Ari McDonald and Jewel Lloyd battling out. And Jewel Lloyd just steps out and say, I'll take the 3.
And smart move by Jewel, because she's got the height advantage on McDonald. She's not going to battle it out with her because McDonald's so quick in the post, she can get a steal. But good decision there by Jewel.
Courtney Williams trying to see if she can thread the needle to Monique Billings. The up and under doesn't go. Full court heave by Breanna Stewart, and right away she's just like, that's my fault. And the Dream will get the ball and go the distance. So those are little things that you're seeing from Atlanta after the first couple minutes of play on the defensive end. Seattle was really starting to push the pace in transition. But the communication, as you said before, seemed like it's a little bit better as this quarter has progressed. Seattle with the 5-point lead. Approaching the 2-minute mark here in the first quarter, and Courtney Williams has just simply been a problem for Seattle.
I mean, she likes this matchup with Katie Lou, because all she has to do is make one move, and Lou just doesn't have the foot speed advantage there in that matchup, but she does have the length. Curious to see how Seattle handles that with Williams starting to cook.
Courtney Williams has scored in every double figures in every game this season except the last game against Seattle. She had 8 points. Already, she's in double figures with 11. Tiffany Hayes wants to join in on the party. She'll step up to the free throw line for 2. That's going to go against Stewart.
It's really almost impossible to guard Tiffany Hayes when she's going left off the bounce. I mean, We talked about this the other night, but her explosiveness and speed, the combination of the two, is tough to contain, and she'll keep you on your heels and also get you into foul trouble when she's in attack mode.
And of course, for Tiffany Hayes, she loves being at the free throw line as well, as Talbot checks in for Seattle for Katie Lou Samuelson. We know what she can do. She definitely was on fire in that second half. She knocks down 2 free throws. But Tiffany Hayes and her aggression to the rim is much needed for this team. She is the energy for Atlanta. Talbot right away. Doesn't get that one to fall.
With Talbot coming off of the bench, that has strengthened that second unit for Seattle. Keeping in mind, Katie Lou went back to the starting lineup last game, and now Talbot, who was starting, coming off the pine, she was ready for her number on Wednesday.
Well, think about it. Sue Bird, Jewel Lloyd, Mercedes Russell, Stephanie Talbot, and Brianna Stewart. They were the best fivesome in the WNBA. They were averaging 58 points per game. But that just tells you how many weapons Seattle has, that she can come off the bench and they can still throw a punch out of the gate. One-point lead for Seattle. Shakina Strickland in for Atlanta. They're just working the clock a bit. They're going to have to make something happen quick. Tiana Hawkins from outside. And that's a good one for her. She struggled from the outside, but Coach Peterson has mentioned how important that is for her to knock down the outside shot.
She took 1-3 and made that 1-3 on Wednesday. And for a player that has the potential to be a very effective three-point shooter, and Tiana Hawkins, seeing the ball go through the hole may have helped her a ton.
Double team on the inside for Dupree. Smothering defense by Atlanta, and they've only got 5 seconds to make something happen to end the quarter. Ari McDonald rises up, draws iron, and that'll do it for the first quarter. Atlanta on a 7-0 run the last 1 minute and 57 seconds of this quarter, making things work. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Well, Sunday, NBA TV will have Washington at Atlanta, 3:30 p.m. Hope you'll be on the call. You'll be on the call. You'll be with us. Maybe not.
I will be on the call. Yes, I will.
Tuesday, Chicago at Minnesota at 9 p.m. For more of these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. Chicago, Candace Parker says she's back. Still working her way back, but it's good to see her back on the floor. And Minnesota, how good is Sylvia Fowles?
Does not get her just due for how great of a player she has been. But the story will start to tell itself as her career accumulations are starting to push up into the top 5 in just about every category. She's already the all-time leading rebounder, so still continuing to make it work.
I was very shocked to see that she is leading the league in steals, LaChina. So she's just getting it done.
Still pretty quick now. She got the quick feet.
I see it.
Got some quick feet now.
That's the 7th Seattle turnover. So Atlanta doing what they do best and turning teams over. They're second in the league in that department, creating about 17 turnovers for their opposing opponent.
That's important because on Wednesday, Seattle had 27 assists and only 13 turnovers. Not as many as the Dream would like to see, but already accumulating 9 points off of Seattle's turnovers. That's all they got the entire game on Wednesday.
It was very interesting, too. Courtney Williams said, look, of course we're frustrated. We're not happy with the results of the previous game, but we understand we didn't play like ourselves. We have to get back to the basics. They understand their identity comes on the defensive end. Let's see if they can get it done for the night. Epiphany Prince from outside.
You know, when Prince gets 2 feet lined up, she can be a dangerous shooter. And just had a solid season so far. Did some nice things on Wednesday as well.
Sue Bird Nice box out by Strickland underneath.
When the ball just hits the floor off of the rim, that's a vacuum box out, okay? That's what coaches want to see.
Almost to a point where they were looking at each other like, who's going to grab it, though?
Yeah, because everybody's got somebody, okay? That's the real box out.
That's the first step. That's the first check box. They took care of business in that department. Courtney Williams will take a trip to the bench, and Tiffany Hayes will come back into the game. Courtney Williams has been phenomenal. Cooled off quite a bit. 11 points she had of Atlanta's 13 at one point. Tiffany Hayes sitting at 2, and those are coming from the free throw line. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Atlanta getting it underneath. And the countdown begins between Hayes and Seattle looking around, but there is a call on the floor for a foul, and Tiffany Hayes looking down, hoping everything's okay, but tightening that lace up on that left shoe.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Looks like Hayes goes up for the shot, and yeah, lands on Candace Dupree's foot, and the officials are going to review this for a possible flagrant, what they call the reckless closeout flagrant 1. And basically it's a rule that was implemented for the safety of the shooter. And if the defender's foot is in the shooter's landing space, it can be a dangerous play, as you know, Angel. You know, they land on your foot and all kinds of things can happen. So in order to cut down on those instances, it's an upgraded foul, and I think that's going to be the case. I think the officials may come away with an F1 here.
I would be surprised if it weren't.
And it's not reckless because she was necessarily out of control on the closeout, though we do see that sometimes. It's just, again, the possibility for a severe injury.
Mm-hmm. And then, as you mentioned, too, just moving in the space underneath her landing space as well. So,
and the shooter does not have to be completely vertical. She just has to be in a regular shooting motion and a regular landing motion. So that's kind of the challenge for a defender, is being under control of your body as you make that closeout.
So head crew chief Roy Golbian is coming down with the conclusion. And as you mentioned, LaChina, I don't know if we should keep stats on this, but you are completely right.
Yeah, you see Dupree right there. So Tiffany will go to the line.
As she knocks down the first one, that'll tie the ball game. And
we saw this in an NBA game last night. I can't remember which one, but it was a very similar play where the shooter came down on the foot of the defender on the closeout. And I believe it was the same result.
Very few times it's not going to be the case. So she knocks down all three, which means the Dream now have a 2-point lead. Tiffany Hayes, 5 points, comes in right away and is at that number, gets the ball back, and now it's time to execute for the Dream.
I mean, that's quite a turn to get the free throws and get possession. Dream could really capitalize here.
Especially while they're stopping the clock and picking up fouls as well. That's Epiphany Prince picking up the foul. That's her second on the night.
It's kind of what Tiffany Hayes makes you do, right? Like, oh, I thought I had her. Dang it, not quite.
We've seen many victims from Tiffany Hayes trying to squeeze through to the bucket. Doesn't get it to go. Sue Bird from the logo on the side and knocks it down.
And in this look, Epiphany Prince can play some of that lead guard, which frees up Sue Bird on the wing then to hit some shots. which we know she does very well at a 45% clip this season from long range for young Sue.
And that's the second three for her tonight. Sue Bird just continues to shine, even at 40, continues to do work. There's some impressive stats within the notes as well. We'll get into that a little later in the broadcast, so we'll probably do some trivia in that department. Tiffany Hayes cradles the ball and can't connect.
It looked like Seattle was back in the zone in that possession, and Hayes makes a good decision to attack the rim instead of staying tentative and instead of putting up too many threes. And that's something else I thought Atlanta could improve on. I mean, they put up 26 threes on Wednesday. Unless they're hitting early, this is not a team where you want to put up that many threes, and they only hit 3 of them. Even though they had been shooting well, you got to kind of get a feel for the temperature of the game and adjust as it goes on.
Absolutely, and even to go back to that game with China too, like it was blown up in that third quarter heading into the fourth quarter. Maybe those were some desperation threes as well, just trying to get back into the game at that point. Prince rises up and once again knocks it down.
Tough too for the New Yorker.
Still holds the record in New York in high school sports, girls and boys, actually. 113 points. That's just ridiculous.
Who does that?
Out of bounds. It will stay with Atlanta. Tiffany Prince actually recorded her 700th career assists on Wednesday. So even in her career, she just continues to climb up the ranks. Six on the shot clock for Atlanta. To Courtney Williams trying to heave it up.
Oh,
and
wow.
It seems like there was a foul on the
She got the foul call. I thought all Seattle had to do was play solid defense.
Seattle bails Atlanta out. Shot clock winding down at 2. She heaves it, but the pump fake.
She got it with the pump fake. You're right. Yep. And they may be going to the monitor to make sure or to figure out if this was a 2 or 3. On the attempt by Courtney Williams.
So either way, that's the second foul on Breanna Stewart. But taking a look here, we'll let you break it down just right there.
Oh, they're going to actually look at the shot.
So we have a different angle thanks to our amazing crew in the truck. So pump fake 1, the ball is out.
Yeah. Looks like the ball is out, and looks like she was behind 3.
Well, we worked through that pretty fast, so.
Yeah, that wasn't bad at all.
Assuming, yeah, we did.
Listen, we should be at the monitor. Let me and Angel handle this.
She beat the shot clock. She's behind the 3-point line. And now they're looking at our crew's angle as well. And as we have a stoppage of play, seems like they have a conclusion that they're coming to, but the headset goes right back on to Roy.
Well, then it must be something a little more complicated than what we're thinking. And we don't have communication with the officials, just so everyone knows. So we're kind of guessing on what we think they may be looking at here.
It's a little different than being down at the table and them looking at us and saying this is what it is, or we can hear them communicate. So the foul stands, no flagrant. She beat it, and she will step up to the free throw line for a 3. Misses the first. She was the AP Player of the Week the first week of this month. She had her first ever back-to-back double-double as well. So Courtney Williams, we know what she can do with the rock. Says she just wants to bring that consistency as well as she knocks down 2 free throws out of the 3.
She's at her best when she's rebounding the basketball, when she's getting into transition.
A lot of pressure at the top of the key for Atlanta. Known for their beautiful chaos on the defensive end, 7 on the shot clock. Sue Bird looking for the 2-man game at the top of the key. Talbot lets it go, and no surprise, knocks it down.
And really almost a bailout shot there by Talbot, because it didn't look like Seattle was very organized in what they were looking for offensively.
And those are her first points of the game.
Talbot's done a nice job trying to contain Courtney Williams.
Cheyenne Parker, too, is trying to find some consistency from deep. Knocked down a few in Minnesota, still trying to find it here in Atlanta. Courtney Williams with the rebound. So Atlanta struggling from the field this quarter. 0 field goals for them so far. Jewel Lloyd working some magic all the way to the bucket, doesn't get it to fall.
And credit Seattle for how they've gotten back defensively and been in position, ready to guard in a stance as Atlanta comes down.
And we talked about the adjustments that Atlanta was going to make, but how about Seattle defensively on their effort against Courtney Williams? We saw her being more of that facilitator and playmaker. Now they're playing her different off the screen to make her think twice a bit, too.
Yeah, and I think Stephanie Talbot is a little underrated in her ability to contain the dribble.
Mercedes Russell picks up her second foul. We'll be back for free throws. Well, we got some May accolades for the W for you. In May, Jonquel Jones, the Eastern Player of the Month. You see her numbers there, averaging a double-double. The Western Player of the Month, Brianna Stewart. Not too shabby herself with the double-double in that month. At the top 4 scorers in the league at this point, and Bill Laimbeer is the second all-time in wins after the win in New York. Asia Wilson also had 30 points. Easy buddy. And then the Rookie of the Month, Michaela Onyenwere. She's been so impressive. You talked about her just leading the charge in that Rookie of the Month or Rookie of the Year conversation right out of UCLA, showing everybody what she's made of.
Yeah, I mean, you knew coming out that she was one of the more pro-ready players just because of her versatility, right? So that allows you to slide into the game at various positions, but then she's so strong. I mean, the physical readiness of a college player is just as important as any other aspect of the game. You got to be ready to come in and compete with the biggest, strongest, fastest players. And speaking of fast, what a cut there by Jewel Lloyd.
Just a beautiful connection between Stewart and Lloyd.
Lloyd chasing Courtney Williams off of some of those turns. She and Talbot with the responsibility of Hayes and Williams here. Great defense by Stewart on Parker as well. Last second heave by Odyssey Sims doesn't go. Right now Atlanta trying to get things going from the outside. 4-point lead turns into 6 for Seattle. Tiffany Hayes all the way to the bucket. And that one can't fall, and she's a bit frustrated that one didn't go down. It looked like Hayes kind of just lackadaisically laid that up because she thought she got some contact. So as she's trying to figure out the call, she talks herself right into almost steal. Jewel Lloyd fouls her on that attempt as well. Tiffany Hayes still a bit upset about the other end. And the officials are about to gather together for what I'm not sure. Sometimes you just have to be on the same page, whatever that may be. That's right. Listen, we could be all the way wrong as long as we're all going in the same direction.
Courtney Williams trying to get things going after a hot start in the first quarter, has only scored 2 points.
Really nice job defensively by Seattle, containing both Hayes and Courtney Williams on the initial dribble penetration.
It's the ball movement for Seattle that's been so impressive. Great deflection at the top of the key for Elizabeth Williams. 7 on the shot clock. Breanna Stewart trying to find something on the inside, and that's actually going to stay with Seattle. They have 4 seconds on the shot clock.
Trying to get the ball past Elizabeth Williams from the top of the key is quite the task. Those long, active arms, always in a stance.
Stewart. Boy. We've seen it time and time again. Nice bucket.
That's just dirty from Breanna Stewart.
When in doubt, get the ball to Breanna Stewart. She has 8 points, 3 for 5 from the field so far, 7 rebounds to add to the bag as well. Cheyenne Parker with the beautiful move on the inside, and Talbot reaches in. That's going to be her first personal foul, but if she didn't reach in, that was going to be a bucket.
And keep in mind that Atlanta is without Kennedy Carter. When I look at this lineup on the floor, you know, Kennedy is a player that could definitely use her speed to create, can get going from long range. So they're still without their young star.
Well, they head to the bench, and we will step away as well. We'll be right back. Well, you're looking at Kennedy Carter. The Atlanta Dream missed her quite a bit. She's missed the last 4 games with the right elbow injury. Hyperextended her elbow in New York. But this is good news. Nice to see her getting some shots up before the game. She grabbed Coach. She was like, Coach, I want to get some shots up. So this is something that you like to see if you're a Dream fan, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, she's working her way back, not quite there. You know, I think people see her shooting and they're like, she's ready to go. But the other thing you have to prepare for is the elbow ready if she were to take another spill, right? So if she were to fall and hit her elbow, is it healed to a place where she could do that and not cause further damage? So we're not the medical experts, but long story short, she's still out. But just a young woman who is electrifying to watch on the court, and a better passer, I would say. When I thought about the way she played coming out of Texas A&M, her passing ability, especially the drop pass off of the bounce, has been a fun aspect of her game to watch.
I love how you use fun. I mean, they call her Hollywood for a reason, and just seeing that she had 35 points, the most points scored by a rookie in this franchise, so right out of the gate was showing what she was made of. She's scored in double figures in all but 1 game this season, so I'm pretty sure they're looking forward to the day they can say that she is returning to the lineup. But until then, the wait continues.
When 2 defenders like we saw there are covering Hayes and Williams, that's what's got to happen. Wherever that extra defender is coming from, got to get the ball there. Now, that's easier said than done because Seattle is long defensively, and they can take away your vision.
Samuelson from the top of the key and takes their lead to 7. So 2 minutes left in the half. Tiffany Hayes trying to work the baseline. Jewel Lloyd with some impressive defense on Tiffany Hayes so far, and Odyssey Sims. That's the one thing about the Dream. They have so many weapons in the backcourt that can be aggressive to the rim.
Yeah, I mean, this take right here, it's tough for a post player to stay up with Odyssey Sims in that situation when she is driving, and that's something I think she's got to take advantage of. Has struggled from the field a little bit in recent games, but I think her speed can't be matched, and she's got to continue to go to that because either she's going to get something at the rim, she's going to get to the free throw line, or one of her teammates will be open for a pass.
So a couple of substitutions. Crystal Bradford comes in for Cheyenne Parker, and Sue Bird and Mercedes Russell, who actually picked up her 3rd foul just recently, will take a trip to the bench, and Candace Dupree on the floor.
Mike Peterson telling us, you know, we're going to see Crystal Bradford a little differently in the lineup with Cheyenne Parker back, because Bradford's most effective position on the floor is at the 4, and that rotation has gotten a little bit tighter in the post, the 4 and 5 spots.
And it was so intriguing to hear him say, too, that she just works herself into a spot where however she's needed, she's going to play. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Dupree around the rim, rims out. Second chance opportunity. Beautiful dish on the inside by Canada. The block is called and one for Stewie.
Boy, that's a tough one because Atlanta was hustling defensively, covering a lot of ground. And Brianna Stewart, I believe, catches that inside the lower defensive box, which means there is no restricted area. I couldn't tell either way if Courtney Williams was outside of the RA, but that might have been why we saw that play go the direction, or the call go in the direction that it went in.
So with that bucket, Brianna Stewart is the first in double figures for Seattle with 11 points. Odyssey Sims struggling from the floor. She's 1 for 6 so far tonight. Crystal Bradford with a lot of pressure at the top of the key. You know you're going to get that with the substitution. Jordan Canada all the way to the bucket, and that's a matchup you definitely want to keep your eye on, the foot race between some of the fastest players in this league. Less than a minute to go in the half. Courtney Williams once again rises up, and that doesn't go. 10-point lead for Seattle. They're just working it around the perimeter. Beautiful take by Lloyd, and nice job by Courtney Williams not to foul there as well.
Atlanta really needs to try to get a bucket here. Mentally, if you can cut the lead to single digits, that helps you going into the locker room. And they've struggled to score mightily in this first half, only shooting 28% from the field.
4 on the shot clock. 3, Bradford lets it go. And that shot is no good. So with that 3, Atlanta shooting 20% from the three-point line, 27% from the field. We'll be right back. We'll have a coach coming back. Also, LaChina Robinson will get to chat with WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert at halftime. You want to stick around for that? I'm going to skip popcorn just to catch you well. Welcome back, Seattle. About to tip, entering the second half with a 10-point lead, and honestly, it's been the story of the backcourt. Jewell Loyd has been so impressive from so many different areas on the floor.
Yeah, Jewell Loyd 4 for 8 from the field, had 9 points. Keeping in mind she's also handling a lot of the lion's share of the defensive responsibilities on the quick backcourt for Atlanta. But Courtney Williams, 5 for 12 in that first half. She did cool off a little bit, but 6 rebounds, 13 points in total. Atlanta's going to need more of that as they hit a little bit of a drought in that second quarter, only 13 points. And you see the dismal shooting for the Dream, 27%. They have got to look to continue to get to the free throw line, get those second chance opportunities they were getting on Wednesday, and continue to try to turn the Storm over and get easy buckets off of their D.
Atlanta went almost 9 minutes without a field goal. They were getting to the free throw line, but it's very interesting to see how they respond with that as well. Just hoping to see the ball go through the net for them to start this quarter. We saw that in the previous game. They came out very hot. We'll see if they can do the same thing here on a Friday. Beautiful pass on the inside, and that was actually blocked by Cheyenne Parker, but she won't get that block the second time around with the foul. And Mercedes Russell quickly goes to the free throw line.
It's always about getting to that second level of defense. You know, you get the initial disruption, but Mercedes Russell is really good at hanging around the basket. She's got good hands, in my opinion. I mean, she's moving better than I've seen her through the course of her career.
Doing pretty impressive. Obviously a 2-time champ with the Storm, drafted by New York 2 games, then went to Seattle. And she has flourished with this team. Elizabeth Williams connects with Tiffany Hayes, showing she has a couple of things in her bag as well.
Good read. Jewell Loyd's been denying Tiffany Hayes on the wing. Back cut, easy bucket.
So we're seeing a trend here going into the paint. Mercedes Russell with another look on the inside. Cheyenne Parker. That's what you like to see for Cheyenne. Much needed bucket for her.
And Mike Peterson said, listen, be patient with Cheyenne Parker because, listen, we're invested in her, and she spent 2 weeks in her apartment during COVID. She's still catching up with her conditioning, and she's just starting to get her chemistry with her teammates after that long absence.
And a timeout is going to be for Courtney Williams, upset that she put herself in that position to be trapped, having to burn a timeout there. But to your point, Mike Peterson said the same thing about Courtney Williams when they were in the wobble and how she had to get acclimated again. So we'll see what the response is after this timeout. Atlanta Dream fans, come one, come all. You're seeing everyone just taking in the show, young and old. Nice little baby playing with the tablet, iPhone. They start so young, LaChina.
They do. Take the devices from the kids.
7-point lead for Seattle. After a brutal second quarter for Atlanta, they went 1 for 15 from the field in that quarter, looking for some more energy in the second half.
That's not the possession that you wanted coming out of that timeout by Courtney Williams.
Less than 10 on the shot clock. Jewel Lloyd loads up and hits the bottom. So Jewel Lloyd with 12 points, 2 threes on the night as well. And she joins Breanna Stewart in double figures for Seattle. And Cheyenne Parker, we're seeing her getting more of that rhythm. You alluded to it earlier. Just have patience, and what Coach was saying about the investment in her as well.
Yeah, I mean, she's a player that, you mentioned it earlier, was a highly sought-after free agent. I think she's got more perimeter skill than we've seen in this league so far. Amazing pass there for the easy three for Katie Lou. I mean, the ball movement by Seattle, it's to perfection sometimes when you're watching them play. Just their player movement, ball movement, and how they can just knock down shots. I mean, they're 8 for 13 from three, 62%. And with a team that likes to collapse on the ball like Atlanta and gamble, if they can get it on a kick out, the three is going down. Right here, Atlanta loads up on strong side. And Courtney Williams was stuck in between land defensively.
We talk about Atlanta and how they acquired Cheyenne Parker in free agency, them still trying to work around some things as far as their lineup. Well, Seattle doing the same thing. They signed Talbot in the training camp. Katie Lou Samuelson from Dallas as well.
Really nice pass from Odyssey Sims to Elizabeth Williams.
And that's another thing, them just continuing to find Elizabeth Williams on the inside. They went to Cheyenne Parker the previous 2 possessions as well. You can see the pace for this. Atlanta trying to see what they can work in transition, having to set up and execute, and a close turnover. And they luck up and actually get a foul called on that play. It seemed like there was a lot going on in that possession for Atlanta.
A lot of scrambling, a lot of bodies hitting the ground.
So that's 4 fouls on Breanna Stewart. So it seems like the scrambling is kind of catching her off guard as well.
I mean, it gets you out of position. You know, Atlanta's the kind of team that they move so quickly but on both ends of the floor. They catch you before you can get your stance and before you get set.
Elizabeth Williams had the ball outside with 6 seconds left. Cheyenne Parker can't connect. But you're thinking, what's the level of execution for Atlanta here in the third quarter? Right away, Mercedes Russell demands the ball on the inside. One-on-one against Elizabeth Williams, and she gets the bucket.
It's the deep position for me by Russell. Sprinting the floor, getting her body squared in front of the basketball with Elizabeth Williams on her back, 2 feet in the paint. This is easy. I don't know about the foul call. Williams may have had a hand on Mercedes Russell's hip, but I think that was a very light call there.
So she gets the bucket as well. Had a very impressive third quarter in the previous game. Mike Peterson saying we had to understand where she was all over the floor, but it's so difficult to do that when there's so many weapons in each position for Seattle. Nice dish on the inside for Tiffany Hayes. They're just trying to see if they can work on any angle on the inside. Tiffany Hayes taking it in her own hands, and why not?
Yeah, Jewel Lloyd is loading up defensively on Tiffany Hayes' left hand, so she is... Odyssey Sims really hustling there defensively, but Hayes is not getting that straightaway drive with Lloyd playing strong on that left. But that was a beautiful move off of the glass right here. Hayes going right, but still getting back to that left hand and just kissed it.
9 points for Tiffany Hayes, gone perfect from the free throw line, 5 for 5, and that's a turnover by Samuelson, so the Dream will get the ball. 9 turnovers for Seattle. Atlanta's actually done a pretty good job taking care of the ball, only 2 so far on the night.
Courtney Williams starting to struggle from the field a little bit after starting out hot.
Had 11 of the Dream's 13 points in the first quarter. Dupree, no good.
The other stat to note is Seattle is beating Atlanta on the glass. That was not the case Wednesday. That pass a little too hard off the hands of Cheyenne Parker. But Atlanta can't afford shooting such a low percentage from the field to not have the rebound advantage.
To your point, Atlanta out-rebounded Seattle by 10 the previous game and also outscored them in the paint 46-28. But it was the threes for Seattle that just put them over the edge, especially in that second half, as Sue Bird can't get that one to fall, and she was left alone on the outside.
Yeah, Atlanta got lucky again. When they load up, if the ball moves, they can't allow the ball to get out of those situations.
A cut underneath by Sims, some contact from Cheyenne Parker, and a nice finish on the left. Cheyenne Parker quickly enters the conversation in the second half. 10 points for Cheyenne Parker. Gone perfect from the free throw line, and it's good to see her get into a rhythm, but also them trying to find ways to get some offense underneath in the second half.
Yeah, they got to be patient. You know, Seattle is a very good defensive team. They're going to take away your first, second look. Atlanta's got to work a little deeper in the clock, be a little bit more patient, but also work together, setting screens. It's too hard at this point in the game to try to score one-on-one without more offensive action.
You saw Tiffany as well, just saying, hey, we need to communicate, as well as directing on the offensive end as well. Well, in celebration of LGBTQ plus Pride presented by Deloitte, the WNBA will collaborate with GLSEN and Fanatics on an exclusive line of Pride apparel, including Fanatics branded WNBA t-shirts. All WNBA proceeds will benefit GLSEN, and fans can purchase the shirts at WNBAstore.nba.com. It's a couple of nice t-shirts in the stands. Just seeing where my money is going to go to next. I'd have to wait just a couple of days, but
I wish our cameras, I was going to say, I wish our cameras were on the other side, because this side where we are is like fully loaded. Now, because of COVID protocol, they can't put fans in the first 3 or 4 rows on the other side, but it's a pretty nicely filled out house tonight, Angel. I mean, I'm enjoying the energy from this group.
Oh, absolutely. And you got DJ Mohawk with just all the vibes and everything going on with the music, ATL everywhere. And then you got to love the energy and what the city is doing around the WNBA team, the amount of pride that they have coming to support the Atlanta Dream as well. You can see the energy in the streets even for how they want to be supported for this team.
Two things Atlanta needs to do right away. Seattle has turned the ball over 9 times. Atlanta only has 9 points off Seattle's turnovers, and that's been the same since the first quarter. They've got to be disruptive. They've got to get possessions. The second thing, they've got to get on the glass.
Sims close to picking the pocket of Canada. Instead, underneath, Cheyenne Parker tries to deflect the pass out by Dupree. Instead, gets the foul.
I thought Hawkins may have been in a position to take a charge there.
And that foul is actually going to go against Odyssey Sims. Noelle Quinn, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, 3-1 so far in her head coaching role.
And she didn't sleep after that Enrique Gumwale dagger. She did not sleep.
12 years in the league, talked about how this team can be special. She's seen it both as a player, as an assistant coach as well, being under Coach Dan Hughes, so learned a lot during his tutelage. And nice baseline jumper by Hawkins.
A good clear out on the left side for Tiffany Hayes and Hawkins to play two-man game.
So Atlanta trying to make their way back into the game. In single digits with 8, but it's those second chance opportunities, LaChina, you said, be on the board, and that's one reason why. Second chance leads to a three-pointer by Epiphany Prince.
Just can't have it. On the scramble, you have got to get back and defend. And Prince has not missed a bucket tonight, 3 for 3. Got to come help Courtney Williams.
Scrambling once again, but Odyssey Sims tries to get something to the basket. Seemed like she had it on the right, but went to the left instead. And right now it's a 3-on-2, and Atlanta trying to stop Seattle in their transition. They get a bucket off at the top of the key.
Both teams struggling a little bit here. I mean, this is a Seattle offense that averages 89 points per game.
Second best in the league. And right away, Cheyenne Parker just a little higher in the and one is there. Courtney Williams definitely looking for her in the paint. We've seen more communication coming from Courtney Williams, but here's the pass on the inside.
Yeah, it's been a long night for Courtney, having two defenders pursuing her all night long, but good catch by Parker. A little late whistle there for Jewel Lloyd.
So this is the third trip to the free throw line for Cheyenne Parker. She's perfect so far on the night.
And these are the stretches where Atlanta has to get an advantage. When Seattle has Sue Bird out and Brianna Stewart out of the game. Yes, Jewel Lloyd is still in, but you know, with a little less firepower on the offensive end without their starters, this is the time to dig in. Put some pressure on this second unit.
One of those reasons why you see Ari McDonald on the floor for Atlanta as well. Coach Mike Peterson was mentioning she's instant energy for this team, seeing if she can get things going defensively for this team. They get a stop there, pushing the pace for Atlanta. Courtney Williams, as you said, so many bodies going towards her, and that's what you need, Cheyenne Parker, to extend the floor and definitely knock it down.
And Courtney Williams has started to understand and expect the defense to come and help out and makes the right pass on the kick out.
And Jordan Canada.
This is the kind of adjustment Dream has to make. Instead of cutting to the bucket where Courtney Williams can't see you, float out for the pick and pop, which is what Cheyenne Parker did right there. Challenge Mercedes Russell to get out on the perimeter from help position to guard that.
As Jordan Canada is stepping up to shoot free throws, it's very interesting how you mentioned just how Cheyenne Parker is helping this team so far in the second half. She has 11 points in this quarter, and that helps so much. We talked to Coach Peterson about what she could add to this team, stretching the floor, being versatile, seeing her even on the floor with Tiana Hawkins. He mentioned that was going to be something that we would see a lot of as well. So seeing how they play off of one another, obviously the chemistry is there. He said we have to play her in order for her to continue to get these reps. Beautiful beautiful shot and finish by Ari McDonald. Not sure how she finished it, but
I think she was upset that Jordan Canada got the best of her on the other end and just decided, come you know what or high water, she was getting to the rim.
Lloyd on the other end.
This game is physical. Love it.
Love seeing you go back and forth, but that's not a good idea for Atlanta. Too many steps for Cheyenne Parker.
Ari McDonald goes to that left hand, but comes back with the scoop shot. That was a two-hander. That's when you first learn how to play basketball and you're a little bitty and you just throw it up at the rim.
I tell you what, every time we see like an almost trick shot from Ari McDonald, we're going to have to use that new nickname that Tiffany Hayes has given her, which is obviously Ari Hash Brown McDonald. You heard it a little bit on the floor.
Oh, that's a piece of work.
It's very entertaining.
What a drop
Prince
pass.
Just picking apart the Atlanta defense.
It was the hezzy, though. She got her with the head, little hezzy move.
Right away, Ari McDonald, her aggressiveness is so impressive this quarter. Ari McDonald, 4 points, 2 for 3 from the field in the 8 minutes that she's had. 30 seconds left in the third quarter, and Prince has been outstanding.
She has been money. That's vintage Epiphany Prince.
11 points, only missed 1 shot on the night. 11 points in 9 minutes. That's not a bad night so far. Almost 3 seconds separate the shot clock and game clock. Courtney Williams doesn't get it off in time. A little bit of over dribbling for Courtney Williams.
Courtney Williams just has to get a feel for what the defense is doing and how she can be effective. And that shot was not going to be there when you look at the way that they've covered her up, and you got to have awareness of the clock.
So 2.8 left on the game clock. They actually switch it to 3.7. So there's enough time to get a shot off. Prince gets it off, and surprise, surprise, she misses, because she's been absolutely fantastic in this game so far. 11 points in 9 minutes.
Well, something that Seattle has been focused on the last few games is bench contributions. Is Brooklyn in the house? I think so. Epiphany Prince, 11 points.
Welcome back. Well, that's downtown Atlanta with the beautiful Ferris wheel that I will just see in amazement from afar. Too scared to get on that at this point, but let's get into the stats for the third quarter. Atlanta did a lot better than they did in the second quarter, but what stands out to you about what they were able to achieve?
Well, looking at the assists, obviously, you know, Seattle has been in a little bit of a rhythm in terms of moving the ball, but shooting 72% in that third quarter for Atlanta is a good sign. And, you know, the one thing to keep in mind is they only have 5 turnovers on the game, but tough shots are considered turnovers, in my opinion, shot clock violations. So Atlanta's got to figure out what they're doing offensively a little quicker, and of course keeping that defensive pressure on as well.
Good point. Just finding ways to execute smothering defense on the side, and Courtney Williams just attracts so much attention, and right there a travel by Ari McDonald trying to get things going, and it's like they're almost desperate at the end of the shot clock to get things going.
Yeah, Ari may have been faster than the basketball there on the takeoff.
I wouldn't be surprised if she is. McGregor travels underneath. So in your eyes, LaChina, you're saying Atlanta just has to settle down. There's an 11-point lead right now for Seattle, and them just finding their way in this fourth quarter. Ari McDonald starts the quarter as well with Courtney Williams, Tiffany Hayes, Tiana Hawkins, and Monique Billings. The fake to the corner, and it doesn't fall for Tiffany. It's a couple of those looks she's had that haven't fall. just haven't been able to fall.
And no one home on the offensive glass because you worry about Seattle's transition. Good rebound by Billings.
And having Elizabeth Williams, too. You haven't seen her a lot throughout this game, only 16 minutes so far.
That's the kind of impatience Atlanta can't have offensively.
And Jewel Lloyd playing some of that bully ball and dishes off for the bucket. So Ari McDonald is going to dribble over to the bench for the timeout, and rightfully so, because this one is getting out of hand for Atlanta. Seattle on a bit of a run, and Atlanta trying to come up with adjustments. Welcome back, and let's take a look at the upcoming WNBA national TV schedule. Atlanta welcomes in the Mystics at 3:30 on Sunday. That's going to be on NBA TV. And Chicago headed to Minnesota, 9 p.m. tip on ESPN2. For more on these games, please go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app. It's been so much fun being able to watch a game almost every night for WNBA. Some of the best basketball we've seen. Ratings going up. The game is growing. So much fun to watch the young talent coming in.
You heard Commissioner Kathy Engelbert talking about the COVID restrictions continuing to lighten up in different arenas, especially with vaccinations. So I know we've had a lot of people ask about NBA capacity versus WNBA, and the NBA started off, you know, a little slower, and then they took more restrictions off, and that's exactly the model the WNBA is going with, just to make sure everything is in place. And everybody's good to go. Courtney Williams good to go. Atlanta's got their key word, energy, in this last 7:47.
We'll hold them to it. She has 15 points. After that hot start, 11 points in that first quarter. So you're looking to see with her with the ball in her hands how she gets things going. And she picks the foul up there underneath.
So coming out, Courtney Williams on the attack. Really nice take. Definitely a foul. I mean, when she gets a full head of steam, I don't think Talbot can guard her there. I mean, Talbot does a nice job with defending, but she just doesn't have the quicks.
She knocks down the first, but it's very interesting. You said just the aggressiveness that she's come out of that timeout with, just understanding what she needs to do. It's just a little bit different.
And that's what Atlanta did not have on Wednesday. They did not respond to Seattle's run with the right kind of energy. The way this Atlanta team, their roster is built, they have got to play energetic on both ends.
So looking for the energy from Atlanta, the aggressiveness as well. They're trying to get some stops on the defensive end as well. It's a 10-point game with a lot of time left, but those are the things you like to see on the defensive end. Deflections at the top of the key, 6 on the shot clock. Sue Bird with the head fake. We'll have to heave it, 1 on the shot clock, and like you said before, the defensive stop is a good sign for Atlanta.
Atlanta continuing to switch up and change up defensively, as we've seen them do all season. This is an opportunity for some momentum here.
Good to see Ari McDonald on the floor as well. We already mentioned the energy she has, but what she's going to bring for this team, the trust that she's earned from her teammates as well as coach as well, being in these minutes. And Courtney Williams definitely picking up from where she left off in that first quarter. $18 points for Courtney Williams. And even with the slow second quarter, third quarter, she's found a way, but Brianna Stewart is just a walking bucket.
Yeah, that's a basket all day when Stewart catches it in the post there. But on a screen, this is the space Courtney Williams is looking for. And there is a closeout by Dupree, but that's a more in-rhythm shot for Courtney Williams. I mean, when she is trying to take shots with 2 defenders on the pursuit, it's tough, but she can hit contested jump shots.
We've seen her do it time and time again, but another thing that we're seeing from her as well is just this space that she's creating off of that screen as well. Before, earlier in the game, it was almost a little tentative, just waiting for the trap to be there. But now the assertiveness is a bit different. Atlanta with the ball. Courtney Williams. Talbot still with the matchup.
Now this is where she's got to do something different here. We got to reverse it.
Monique Billings underneath, but doesn't get it to go. But it seems very interesting. It looked like it went off of Brianna Stewart underneath.
They are not able to review that at this point in the game, but I would agree with you, Angel.
So right now it all comes down to stops for Atlanta, and that's not one way you want to see it done. Jewel Lloyd all over the floor, just finding ways to get open underneath.
And it seems like Atlanta cannot get past this 10-point margin. They've been kind of within 10 and then 8 and then 12 and then 10 and then 8, but Seattle just has a response every time.
Jewel Lloyd leading Seattle in points at this point. 15 points for her, 6 for 12, shooting 50% from the field. Already knocked down 2 threes in the night as well. She's just been so balanced. We saw it on Wednesday as well, what she brings to the squad.
Yeah, this matchup suits Jewel Lloyd well because defensively she can take a Tiffany Hayes or Courtney Williams out of their game offensively.
Another look for Courtney Williams at the top of the key, so she'll get 2 free throws. So that's on Candace Dupree. We've seen that switch a lot. Talbot starts off on Courtney Williams, and then that switch happens with Dupree. But Courtney Williams, fearless player, just trying to get a bucket. Knocks down the first one, and Cheyenne Parker comes in for Tiana Hawkins, and Seattle has a sub of their own. Dupree goes to the bench, and Mercedes Russell returns to the game.
Courtney Williams expends a lot of energy during the game, especially when she's going to the glass like she is tonight with 9 rebounds to go with her 19 points. But you see her growth and how she's making reads now and able to see things happening on the floor, just starting to get to that next level, but still a little bit of ways to go there.
Some contact at the top of the key, and Monique Billings knew that she swiped across the face of Brianna Stewart. That's her first.
Oof. That was a rake there. That could have been really bad.
Seattle moving it once again, but that's actually going to go against Seattle for an offensive foul. And that's going to go against Stephanie Talbot. That's her third.
Whistles, a lot of stoppage. I didn't quite catch that. I would need to see it again, but it looked like...
It was like a brush screen at the bottom. Erin McDonald just got caught on it. Talbot didn't get set, so they call it against Seattle for the moving screen. Cheyenne Parker trying to see if she can work some magic underneath. Doesn't there. And there's another offensive foul that's going to go against Atlanta as Jewel Lloyd is taking some time to come to. And they're actually going to send both teams to their bench to review it. And that's going to go against Monique Billings, her second, and the officials reviewing what just took place underneath the basket. Seeing Cheyenne here, Monique Billings on the left side underneath the rim.
Contact above the shoulders on Jewel Lloyd by Monique Billings, so they're going to just go look to make sure there wasn't anything flagrant here. Now, it wouldn't be a flagrant 2 because there's nothing excessive there. No wind up, anything of that nature, but with a flagrant 1, because she took her hand off of the ball and it wasn't a basketball move, that's where Billings could pick up a foul here. See this left, see her left? But you know what? She did not know or see Jewell Loyd, so it was blind as well. So this call could honestly go either way. I think she thought she was holding a body back, which is a foul, but not a flagrant. The contact itself doesn't look flagrant to me.
Didn't look flagrant to me either, LaChina, right underneath. As you said, you've seen how they've been trying to create some contact underneath just for boxing out, but that left hand swinging back did seem a bit excessive, but we'll see what the officials rule this one as. Roy Golbion and Maj Forsberg and Kevin Spark talk this one over.
I think it's just going to be a common foul.
So a common foul was called on the floor, so that's Monique Billings' second foul. As we're approaching the halfway mark here in the fourth quarter, Breanna Stewart.
Oh boy.
Just doing Breanna Stewart things, to be quite frank.
You have to be vertical, and I think that's the message for the Dream. When Breanna Stewart is there, it's hard to contest because she's got that high release, but you got to be vertical, and absolutely that's a foul there by Strickland because she just wasn't in position. I mean, you can't be too close to her that when she turns, your arm is already on hers. You lose. The best choice of disrupting Breanna Stewart when she catches in the post is try to bring another body over when she puts it on the ground, if she does that. But it's a tough shot to guard.
And even with Strickland at 6'2", I mean, Breanna Stewart at 6'4", but her wingspan,
which I heard is
7 feet, which is very interesting.
I heard it was 7'2". One of the fans tweeted me, appreciate that, and said her wingspan was 7'2". I said the fans are dialed in.
They're on it, right? We appreciate the fans keeping us honest. Sue Bird.
She's missed some open shots we're not used to seeing.
Yeah, 2 for 5 from distance, 2 for 7 from the field. Only 6 points on the night. Strickland, no good from outside. Had the game of 9 points earlier in the season. Has really struggled from the field from that point on. It's been getting very limited minutes, but is called upon for her distance shooting when she does check in for Atlanta. Kick out by Talbot to Sue Bird. 4 on the shot clock. And Ari McDonald with the strip. Going against Breanna Stewart, looking, second guessing, and she'll make you do that. Probably a wise decision for Ari McDonald.
She said, let me pull this one out, actually.
This was a good idea. Courtney Williams rises up, doesn't get that to go, and Breanna Stewart comes down with the rebound.
That's a tough shot, and I don't know when the last time Tiffany Hayes is actually not in right now. It seems like she's been a little quiet on the offensive end in the second half.
I think she heard you. She's now walking up to coach. Maybe we'll see her check in momentarily for Atlanta as the scramble is on the floor. 1 on the shot clock, and they won't get a shot off for Seattle. So Atlanta is Cheyenne Parker is looking at Courtney Williams.
What a defensive play there by Ari McDonald. All ball on Sue Bird.
And then she's like, wait a minute. I'm just going to pull this right on out. Wise decision by the rookie. Ari McDonald with 15 minutes so far tonight.
Beautiful cut by Parker. Showing hands. Hayes with the delivery.
And 17 points for Cheyenne, too. She's had a pretty impressive second half. Approaching the 3-minute mark in that curl by Jewell Loyd on the inside. And she brought everybody from Atlanta and still drops it for 2.
That's a gold Mamba move right there. What do you say?
Sounds like it. You don't get that nickname for no reason. Jewell Loyd has just been so impressive both nights here in Atlanta. 18 points, 7 for 13 from the field. Here's 2 of them.
I mean, she's got 3 defenders that wanted to get a hand on that and couldn't.
Gold Mamba putting on a show here in Atlanta. Welcome back. The PBR Las Vegas Invitational is underway and now available at cbssports.com/CBSSN. We'll get you out there as soon as this one is over. Right now, Seattle in complete control of this game so far with their biggest lead of the night, 14. With less than 3 minutes to go, and you saw the smile on Jewell Loyd's face. I'd be smiling too if I were her. She's had an impressive game so far, 18 points in 31 minutes.
And she's limited Tiffany Hayes. Hayes is 2 for 9 from the field, only 9 points, and a lot of that has to do with Jewell Loyd's activity and how she's just made every shot and every catch difficult for Tiffany.
As that last attempted bucket for Tiffany as well, still yet to be in double figures. Ari McDonald doesn't get that one to go, and it looks like this one is going to stay with Atlanta. So as you said, Tiffany Hayes trying to get something going for herself. They've just thrown every single look at her, and for good reason. She had 22 points in the last game, the only Dream player to score in double figures, and it's been everyone else they've challenged to make shots. Sue Bird backing it up quite a bit just to get some separation with Breanna Stewart, and very few times she won't be able to pick up the foul there.
Yeah, one thing we talked about with Atlanta to start the season was how balanced they were offensively. They were hitting threes at a good clip, you know, to keep the defense honest, in particular Tiffany Hayes and Courtney Williams. And we know what they can do off of turnovers in the driving lanes, but they have not been hitting their threes the last few games the way they had, so defenses are able to play them a little differently. And without Kennedy Carter, who can create a lot of offense, they've struggled to find their looks in the half court and to get easy buckets, especially for a team like Seattle that's just not going to turn it over a ton.
Tough shot at the rim for Ari McDonald, and to your point, I mean, they've struggled in the last 3 games, now 4 games in the absence of Kennedy Carter, and I know it's an adjustment as Jewell Loyd just continues to pile up the points. 20 now for her on the night, and hopefully they can see her return. And Coach was talking with us just about her anxiousness to get back on the floor. Nice bucket by Tiffany Hayes. That'll put her in double figures. But
when one thing that Mike Peterson said about the way Atlanta gets their threes is he said that he thought they were shooting them well early because they were getting them in rhythm, in the right position, and catching it, you know, in the right spots. And when you're missing a key cog in your offense, often that doesn't happen.
So Atlanta's still trying to work through some things. He talked about the different rotations that he's been able to use. Obviously, on the other side for Seattle, they're a veteran group. They know how to play off of one another. They have Crystal Langhorne that retires, and you bring in another vet with Candace Dupree, so just players that know how to play around each other. And he said, we're not using this as an excuse, but we do know that it's going to take some time for us to gel as well.
Yes, it really is. And, you know, beginning of the season, everyone's kind of getting a feel. There's players in and out of the lineup. Cheyenne Parker's late arrival, Kennedy Carter's injury. You know, and Seattle's had some shakeups as well with Katie Lou leaving. They had a couple players come in late early, but their core has been together for a long time, and they're big 3, and that's what Mike Peterson was concerned about.
Oh, with Sue Bird, Jewell Loyd, and Stewart, who averaged 58 points per game. That's the best trio in the league at this point. So yes, I think a lot of teams are very you know, leery of what Seattle comes into each arena with. Approaching the 1 minute mark during the game, and Crystal Bradford just trying to create some contact underneath.
And Atlanta has missed Crystal Bradford's energy. You know, at one point in the season, she was one of the more efficient contributors off of the bench in the WNBA. And I know, Tiffany, you are excuse me, Tiffany. Angel, I know you were thinking about Hayes. I know you are a big fan of Crystal Bradford, as am I. I mean,
Yes.
I begged for a jersey on air and what her energy brings. But Atlanta's got to go back and regroup and kind of talk through how they can get the contributions down the roster that they need, the consistent energy and the good looks on offense.
Right.
That to me was the difference, is them not being able to get good looks on the offensive end.
Just the discipline and not knowing who's going to take the shot, when and where. So hoping that they can get that. And you're seeing even extended time on the floor as there's another scramble in the paint. Less than a minute here in the game. And underneath, they just pick up a bucket. And that's going to go to Kennedy Burke. But to your point, it was just wondering, just kind of looking around as Crystal was able to knock that down. But it's very interesting, the two games, even when she was in Minnesota, back-to-back double-digit games, and how she's been able to stretch the floor. But with different pieces out, how does Atlanta respond? And sometimes you just have to look in the mirror and see what else you can do, even if it's outside of your position. So a lot to look over for Atlanta, but for Seattle, they are just a well-oiled machine at this point. 8-2. We'll move on to 9-2 as well. Only lost one game in May. We already talked about the buzzer beater from Dallas just recently as well. And you would assume that they'll just dribble this one out in the backcourt. And a very impressive win for Seattle to come in for their 5-game road trip. 2 games here back-to-back, 5 games in 8 days, and they take care of business here in Atlanta for the first 2 games. A couple of players that stood out for Seattle, well, look no further than Breanna Stewart, who walks away with a double-double, 13 rebounds, 6 for 11 from the field, as well as Jewell Loyd, who was just very impressive. 20 points for her, 8 for 14 from the field. And then another player off the bench that we definitely have to give her flowers is Epiphany Prince. 11 points for her and 4 for 7 from the field. Impressive output for Seattle once again.
Yeah, I mean, their bench had 26 points, but I thought that the timeliness of Epiphany Prince's buckets were big and kind of took the wind out of Atlanta's sails. But Cheyenne Parker getting her rhythm is a good sign for Atlanta. Another double-double for Courtney Williams. But against a team like Seattle that has 10 3-point buckets, I mean, that's a lot of firepower from long range.
And Jewell Loyd was so impressive, showed us different ways that she can score, but we didn't really need to be put on notice the way she did tonight.
Yeah, I mean, again, just came out firing, but it was her defense. I'll go back to that on Tiffany Hayes, that, you know, she's a two-way player, and it paid off.
Well, Jewell Loyd, so impressive on the night. So many different players that stepped up, but Seattle, once again, just getting the win here in Atlanta. 9-2 on the season. So thanks for joining us for our presentation of the WNBA on the CBS Sports Network from College Park, Georgia. The next WNBA telecast on CBS Sports Network will be Thursday, June 17th at 8 p.m. Stay tuned for the PBR Las Vegas Invitational for LaChina Robinson and our entire crew. I'm Angel Gray. Thanks for joining us.